today, and thanks for staying tuned. I really do hope that in spite of all that's playing out in the country at the moment, that you're having as good a time as you possibly can. You're welcome once again. I'm Daya. From now till 7, we keep the conversation going. A few matters we're going to be addressing today, and you're very welcome to be a part of the conversation. Let's see. I've got side comments coming up in a moment, and as has been the practice since last week, I believe there will be no rant today. In case you don't know why, I'll mention why in a moment when I get to that point. But some conversation will come up all the way to 4 p.m. Before we've got the business news coming up, and after that we delve into some other matter. Well, the state of the nation, Nigeria, and matters arising. It's so many issues. Where to start from, really? Well, I guess security might be a good place to start, but even the security crisis that we are bedeviled with at the moment does have a foundation. It didn't start with the kidnapping of students of University Federal Institution of Forestry and Mechanization. It didn't start with the abduction of students of Greenfield University. It didn't start with the abduction of students of the Kankara, the boys in a school at Kankara. It didn't start with even that situation either. I mean, there are lingering issues that led us to where we are today. So these and other related matters we're going to be discussing in the 4 o'clock hour. Nigeria and matters arising. My guest for that conversation will be newly elected chairman of Emoha local government area. Dr. Chidi Lloyd will join me in the 4 o'clock hour for that conversation, taking us till 5. Now at 5 we've got the news update coming up, and after that we'll be discussing the latest COVID-19 measures put in place by the federal government. Yes, indeed, the latest COVID-19 measures put in place by the federal government. We'll be discussing that. I'll be having a doctor guest with me for that conversation. Do stay tuned for that. COVID-19 resurgence. FG reimposes restrictions as ECOWAS fixes tests at $5. But the focus will be the reimposed restrictions by the federal government. A bit of that story. Well, the story also comes to the rider. Imposes nationwide curfew, limits gatherings to 50 persons. Well, here's the story. Disturbed by the resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government has announced the reinstitution of all extant control measures aimed at mitigating the impact of the deadly scourge. Accordingly, the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 has reimposed the nationwide curfew earlier put in place to control the spread of the virus. Yeah, we're discussing these measures and why or not it is necessary for these measures to be put in place at this time. Like I mentioned a while ago, I'll be having a doctor guest with me for that conversation, hopefully, in the 5 o'clock hour after the news update. Headlines 5:30, major news at 6 p.m. And open season comes up afterwards. Hopefully we've got some time for that, during which if you miss out on any matter discussed on the show, I'll take your thoughts during that period. And by the way, I hope that you have been keeping to the curfew put in place, the reviewed curfew put in place by the Rivers State government. It's now from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Please do endeavor to obey these restrictions. Keep to it, okay? All right, thank you very much. I know it's not convenient. Even yesterday when the governor made the announcement on the news, he did express concern as to how this might affect everyone. He sympathized with Rivers people for the economic hardship the curfew could cause. However, he said the state government is prepared to fight insecurity. So everyone acknowledges that it would bring about some hardship, but it might be emphasis on might be a necessary step at this time to ensure the safety of lives and property. So let's play our role while we hope that government will play its role. Alright, so that's said. Let's see. Time for some side comments, random stories and sources that caught my attention earlier today. As I mentioned a while ago, once again, curfew has kicked off from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Please endeavor to abide by it. Now, let's see. Other matters that caught my attention on the news today. The families of the 11 officers killed by gunmen in recent attacks on police formations in Rivers State will receive 20 million naira each. Governor Yesimwike made the announcement during a condolence visit to the Commissioner of Police Friday Ebuka and officers of the State Police Command. Let's hear what His Excellency had to say on this matter. 642. So I think here we are. Voila.
In the past 2-3 weeks, we have lost 11 police officers and men. This is a dark period for us in the state. For 11 families, each of the families, the state government will give them 20 million naira. There is no amount of money that can equate life. There is no amount of money. No money can buy life. Not to say we identify with them, but we fit for it, because they are going to protect us, and in course of doing their job, they die. Not to also tell you that once you're carrying out your duty and anything happens, as far as you're in this state, if it's in course of your duty, government will identify with your family.
Now, is it good that the Rivers State government... Okay, let me start this way. I once again, and very deeply, sincerely sympathize and empathize with the entire Nigeria Police Force, especially the Rivers State Police Command, even more especially the families and loved ones of the slain police officers. It should never have happened, and I hope it never happens again. I wish them the very best and pray God will grant them the grace, the strength, and the fortitude to bear this immeasurable, irreparable loss. That said, is it good that the Rivers State government, or any government for that matter, because also on the news in Akwa Ibom State, Governor Udom Emmanuel donated 60 million naira to families of policemen that were killed there. So similar gestures and measures are taken even in other states as well. So it's not peculiar to Rivers State. Okay, that said, is it bad that the Rivers State government or any other government is reaching out to the families of slain security men? It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. As a matter of fact, I hope that we witness a lot more of measures like this. But more importantly, more important than state governors willy-nilly, if you will, doling out monies to families of slain officers, I hope that we have a reformed system, a reformed policing system, a reformed structure in the country that automatically guarantees that the families of slain officers are not just taken care of, but well taken care of. Because I doubt there's anything in place that will ensure the families of slain police officers get anything close to 20 million naira. I very much doubt we have any such structure or system in place if the governors did not decide to give whatever they feel like giving. So it's not a terrible thing. I must make that very clear. However, now there might seem to be a problem, or citizens might be concerned about these gestures, because when things like this happen to citizens, nobody doles out millions to their families. Nobody doles out 10 million. Nobody doles out 60 million. Definitely, heck, nobody doles out 20 million naira each to their families. In Rivers State here, we have had we have had some matters that have been very publicly discussed, matters that have made even national discourse, some of which, in some cases, individuals died, even at the hands of our police officers, our gallant officers. They were killed, they were murdered. Nobody paid the families a courtesy call. Nobody reached out to the families. Nobody gave them, be it 5 or 10 or 20 million. Nobody did that. At least not government anyway. So you will understand why. You must understand that people will raise eyebrows and questions will be asked. Why is it that when citizens or civilians, because the police officers are citizens also, why is it that when civilians are killed by the police, for example, nobody does anything? Very little is heard. Sometimes absolutely nothing. Government completely keeps silent, even when it forms a matter of national discourse. I mean, the entire country is talking about it. It's trending on Twitter. But when something happens to security operatives, then we're doling out millions of naira. I just think we can do better we can do better. We can do better, because the question does arise. Is the motive intrinsic? Why do we ignore when it happens to civilians, but when it happens to security operatives, we're jumping over ourselves to dole out money to the families? Just asking what I think is a very valid question, really, and a question I believe many other persons are thinking and asking as well. But I do wish the families of the slain officers the very best, and I hope they do get the monies promised to them, and that they are taken care of and they are well. I wish them the best. Let's see, was there anything else that caught my attention? Well, it's all security. I mean, that's basically what's making the rounds these days, just about everywhere. Well, I hear that someone's talking about returning as the host of Big Brother. It's coming again, and I personally have no problem with the Big Brother show, even though quite personally I don't watch it. Not because I think it's a bad show. I just don't find it very entertaining. I have no problems if anybody else wants to watch the Big Brother show. And once again, very clearly, I have no problem with the Big Brother show. I don't think it's a bad show. Let me put it that way. But I personally do not find it entertaining. That's why I do not watch it. But I feel that the show is going to come on from reports, from information online, and I imagine that the vast majority of Nigerians will once again forget about national issues, forget about what's happening in the country, forget about the price of beans, forget about the price of rice, forget about insecurity, forget about everything, as long as they can vote for their favorite housemates. It's almost like it's a remarkable period, really. It's quite something. It's quite something. But I wish the country the very best. I wish the country the very, very best, because very soon all that everybody will be talking about is what this housemate did last night and what that housemate did to the other person, and forgetting. In fact, if the show were to hold in election year, I think most Nigerians won't even go out to. Oh my goodness. We've got a long way to go in this country. We've got a very, very long way to go. So, is there anything else? I think I need to wrap up the side comment on this note. But first, a reminder I know that the police are having a lot to deal with at the moment, understandably so. But it doesn't mean that the police would not do its job. And once again, the police has launched a manhunt for the killers of policemen in different parts of the state. And whilst we're doing that, and that's a good thing once again, we must apprehend these criminals, we must bring them to book. His Excellency must demolish them. But while we're doing that, how about the criminal elements within the police? How about the crackheads within the police that extorted the Uniport undergraduate student to the tune of 150,000 naira and forgot their phone? How about those ones? Because once again, the police need to understand that all of these things are intertwined. All of these things are interconnected. The police keeps talking about how security is everybody's business. If the police is your friend, it's not the job of the police only. You have to liaise, you have to provide them. If the people don't trust you, how can they provide information to you? If the people that you are policing do not trust you, the fact of the matter is that you're not safe. Nobody is safe. And that's the simple truth. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. And it very much might even be a major contributor to what we are witnessing right now all over the country. If the citizens do not trust you, how can they provide information? How can they help you? How can they play their role in helping you ensure a safe and secure environment? If the citizens do not trust that even when your so-called bad eggs go astray, that you will deal with them. The good people of Rivers State are still waiting for the results of this investigation and the bank statement that's very much awaited. And finally, Imam Gipasi, as a self-appointed senior special advisor to His Excellency, and reminded him of critical matters. Your Excellency, sir, we need a lot to be done in Rivers State, in Port Harcourt. We need a lot to be done in the area of education in Rivers State. We need to declare a state of emergency in education. We need to revamp the education system and structure, especially at the basic level. We just doled out 20 million naira to slain police officers' families, and that's a good thing. That should be no less than 200 million, more than that, I suppose. If we had 200 million lying around, add another couple hundred millions to it. If we invest that in education in Rivers State, it would do a lot. It will provide furniture, it will provide roofs for classrooms, it will provide bathrooms, toilets, it will provide water, it will provide chairs, it will provide tables. We might even be able to employ some more teachers. After all, as at last count, we need at least 10,000 teachers in Rivers State and 4,000 non-teaching staff. So, Your Excellency, I know infrastructure money is infrastructure money, but if we have some other cash lying around, in the hundreds of millions that we can just give to police officers' families if they are killed, let's invest some of that in the education sector in Rivers State, as that is crucial, especially to ensure that our children today can compete globally tomorrow. Because whilst flyovers can take us from GRA Junction to water lines a minute or two faster, education will take us to a future where those flyovers will no longer be required. And that's a wrap for today's side comment. I go on a break, and when I return, discussions continue. Please stay with us.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our down.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Welcome back to Hard Facts 91.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. We got 26 minutes to go before 4 p.m. At 4, the business news comes up, and discussions continue afterwards. Now, you might remember last week I did state that there will be no rant, or, well, not that the rant has ended or been cancelled. It's simply been suspended, and it's been suspended until the students of certain tertiary institutions in the country recently kidnapped are released. We had a situation with the School of Forestry and Mechanization. We had that. We had that recently. Yeah, and thankfully they've been released and reunited with their family members and other loved ones, and that's a very good thing. However, and also we had, I think, 1 or 2 or so students of Abia State University who were caught up in a situation where some passengers of a commercial vehicle were abducted. I think 1 student or 2 escaped. The one still with the abductors has been released as well. That's good news. But sadly, we still have students of Greenfield University. I think right now 16 of them, 5 were killed originally. 1 of them was recently released, I think, after private negotiations between the parents of that student and the kidnappers. So we have 16 students left with the kidnappers. And I know that I said there will be no rant until these students are released and reunited with their families and loved ones. And I also did mention that every day on the show, between 3 and 4 p.m., I will bring you updates as to that situation. with sadness, I report that I did a search earlier today. I did several searches actually, and there is no update. There's not one piece of information online or new information online regarding the situation or the status of the Greenfield, the abducted Greenfield University students. Nothing at all. The last piece of update, if you can refer to it as an update, was a story I used yesterday, and that was in the Nation newspaper. And yesterday it was the Nation only that had any current story or reportage on the situation with the Greenfield University students who still remain kidnapped. And it wasn't really an update on their situation. It almost seemed like the reporter or whoever filed that story, maybe just like myself, was determined to ensure that something was still in the papers that made people or make people remember those students. And that's why the story was captioned, "Parent of abducted Greenfield Varsity student fast." So that's what the story was about. Apparently some parent of one of the students was contacted by the reporter or whoever filed the story, and the parent is talking about how they resorted to praying and fasting. Parents of the kidnapped Greenfield University students yesterday continued their fasting and praying for the return of the children by their abductors. So that's it. That's what the story was about, basically. Once again, it didn't particularly give any update as regards the condition of the students or their status or what negotiations are going on or when or if they will be released soon. Nothing like that. And if you check even further, it gets even more disturbing. The last time any new information was published by most of the dailies we have, the major news outlets, was 6 days ago, 2 weeks ago. This is Al Jazeera. 2 weeks ago, Premium Times. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 6 days ago. So, as at today, and I checked severally, there is no information. There is nothing new. There is absolutely no update on the situation with the abducted Greenfield University students. It's almost like in our traditional manner, in the way we have become known to do it, we have moved on. You know, I mean, there are pressing issues. There are very many important issues for us to deal with. I mean, there's curfew. Curfew affect our business. The price of rice is going up. There's no night market again. How will I cook afang soup at night when I get home? You know, there's insecurity. They're killing police. Governor Wike gave them 20 million. This one's going on. That one's going on. Prices are soaring. I don't understand. Everything's great. So we've moved on. Right now, at the federal government level, it's in the transportation ministry. The minister is having an issue with NPA boss. They are suspending somebody. PDP is asking that both minister and NPA boss, they should be sacked. EFCC should investigate them. They are saying somebody took this 1 billion, 1 something billion. They gave Dangote a contract for this one. Intels did not do that one. And then people, burglars or robbers, tried to or succeeded. The stories, there are varying versions of the story. Either robbed or tried to rob the president, chief of staff's house that was close to the villa, and it's a cacophony. It's a cacophony of horribleness. That's what it is. A cacophony of goodness gracious. And it appears once again that Nigerians have moved on. We've moved on, and we have left the Greenfield University students in the hands of God, as we usually leave everything else in the hands of God. And God will do it. Whilst we are dealing with curfew and the price of iced fish at Rumokoro Market. But I haven't moved on, and I will not move on until the students are released and reunited with their family members. So if you have any thoughts on this situation with the Greenfield University students, I'd like to hear it. The numbers are the same line to report. We got about 20 minutes to go before 4 p.m. Do call 0817 923 0002 or 0003, 0817 923 0007 or 0009. We're live on Twitter, I suppose, at Nigeria Info PH. Also live on Facebook.com / Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. That's 0809 030-6416. Can you spare a thought or two for students of Greenfield University who are still in the den of the abductors or the kidnappers? 16 of them, as at last count. Let's read. I've got comments via Facebook. Bamit Smith Aramu goes, Police Buhari should resign. He's unfit to rule. I'll get to the honors in a moment. To the phone lines now. Hello, Hot Factor, welcome.
Hello,
Hello, go on.
yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I don't know. Two police who lost their lives to pay them some amount of money. I don't know why that is happening.
I apologize, but that's not what's being discussed right now. We're not discussing the police people who were given money or the families that were given money. I think I've made it very, very clear what the matter of discourse is at the moment. Hello, Hot Factor, welcome.
Good evening, Dayo.
Hi, go ahead.
For the students, I have nothing to say. Let the government go and take money so that it will release those students, because they are the one causing this problem. Even if we have good governance, the people will not be doing all this. So let them go and, so whichever way they know they can rescue those students to their parents, let them go and do it. That's what I have. It is for them now. They will do anything to release their children. That is why their children are not even school here in Nigeria.
But Governor El-Rufai said even if it was his children, he would
release the children.
All right. Hello, Hot Factor, welcome. Diane, I heard on the news this morning the ransom is increased to 160 million. That's from Yemi. Okay, Yemi. Well, I like I said, I did a check. I didn't see anything. But I'm not saying you didn't though. Hello,
Good afternoon.
all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first on green seeing the children, sometimes it baffles me where our leaders used to act it look as if maybe they are not here as a human being again. If we can play some interviews recorded by Aerofire in 2014 where Chibok Guest was kidnapped, you will see us. Is it the same Aerofire the Kaduna State governor as today? Because I know what he said that time. Jonathan, if your children is among of those guests, would you pay even billions to bring them out? Then the mediator of the program asked the Aerofire, if you do that, Jonathan, will you pay ransom to release those guests? Aerofire said yes. You will pay any amount to bring those guests out. But today, if it happens in Aerofire's mouth, today he's saying even though his son is among, he's not going to pay anyone either. Look at the double standard we just paid every year. Somebody's children, some of them may be suffered 10 years, 15 years before they get even one children among those guests. Today we have it has become life move on. They kidnap goods. Maybe they kidnap the chicken. Let the cat have come and catch my chicken. Let the life goes on. Somebody's children. Some of them even have only one. And we are talking today, talking of negotiating and no negotiating. And we are, my brother, you see, Nigeria is a hot dog. It's better than just off Nigeria. Let everybody. Let Nigeria off like light. We take it like that.
What if Nigeria, to borrow your expression, off like light, what happens to all of us?
Everybody end now. Let it be like that. Everybody, let it air off so that everybody will end. But do you know that stage, I can't even know what to qualify Nigeria as today. Not every bad thing has become normal. Killing and kidnapping has become a national anthem. It's standing 1 minute in every national and state assembly, a minute silence for waiting every day. Every day. At the same people are still ruling Nigeria. People are governors. People are presidents. People are senators. We say we want to do protest. They mobilize battalions of people to take you out of road. And we still have government. My brother, better up in Nigeria as life so that everybody will everywhere be back. We know that nothing is like Nigeria anymore because no need.
All right, sir. Hello?
Hello.
Good day.
As you said, we moved on. That is the kind of Nigeria. We are so decide. That does not surprise me any longer in Nigeria. That is, you remember, I know something in Nigeria during the a few years ago when Abba Moro invited some graduates, some graduates to the recruitment of Nigerian Education Service.
Yeah.
the seven Nigerians were killed.
Mm-hmm.
That was the day I expected Nigerians to come out and march and say no to that. Even to the extent of collecting 1,000 naira. Everything went everything.
And even the minister responsible was not relieved of his job.
The man maintained his job until the end of the Adedayo administration. So what are we talking about? We have the scenario of the case of Chimaikula here. People were there was this about to collect legal online. How many people in Port Harcourt did it? Less than a billion. Less than half a billion did it. I don't think it's up to 200,000 people did it. Look at the movement of Rivers State. If they have done that, you think that the police will, everyone will come out and say no to this. We protest, we build over the street, and people outside the country will join up because it's what we are doing. So, we are, as I used to say, what is happening to us is we deserve it, and we have nowhere to run to. I call on any embassy to recruit people, visa. They don't go anywhere. We're all die here. Thank you, Dayo.
You're welcome. But hopefully we don't die. I mean, that's the point of it all. Via Twitter at Jeff Anfield tweets, when my junior bro was wrongly accused of violence in his secondary school days and he was arrested and had to sleep in a cell for a couple of days, because I was informed in time, I could have facilitated his immediate release. I couldn't sleep at night because I was busy having nightmares about the beating he'd received so far in the hands of the police and his psychological issues about the place. How much more having to be in deadly kidnappers' net? I feel for the victim's parents, thank you. At Ike02802 tweets, it's easy to say don't pay the ransom when your loved one isn't involved, but we all know that paying the ransom will only come back to hurt us more. An option would be to pay the ransom but find a way to track them after the payment using technology, but will they? I doubt that. Via WhatsApp, Dayo, can't will the masses come out and stand with our government and security agencies to tell them we are with you and support you and send a strong message to these criminals that enough is enough? That's from IBC. IBC, I believe that the vast majority of Nigerians want to do that. But you said stand with. How do you stand with someone who doesn't even see you as a human being? It's pretty tough. How do you stand with the police when when the police see the average Nigerian, or a lot of the police, so-called bad eggs, see the average Nigerian? What they see is an ATM. What they see is a cash box, is a cash machine. And whatever they need to do, even at the threat of killing you to get that money, how do you stand with such a person? How do you stand with governments that appear to be living in a bubble, completely isolated and insensitive to the myriad of issues that are plaguing the average Nigerian? It's tough. Yeah, so we can profess it, and we should profess it, and I've done that severally here, especially recently with the killings of our security agents. But even when you're standing with government and our security agents, they have to be responsive. They have to be responsible. For example, we have a curfew in place right now. Our security operatives going to be responsible on the roads, knowing that, yes, we have a situation on our hands, everyone's on edge, but still they are dealing with human beings, they are dealing with Nigerians, and we're all in this together. Or will they see it as an opportunity to ensure that people, they cause as much traffic as possible so that people are stuck, remain on the roads till past 7 o'clock so they can extort them and exploit them? You get what I'm saying? Hello, welcome.
Good afternoon.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, the issue of the Greenfield University students that were taken hostage is still recurring. And the government has not paid that ransom, then they're being very wicked. I will tell you the extent the government has gone, to rescue people, the showing of high-profile people that were caught in the net. There's a lady called Zainab Aliyu that was caught in Saudi Arabia with drugs, was sentenced to death. The government did a lot of diplomatic maneuvering, and eventually they caught some guys that were supposed to have been, they were framed up, that there are people that they syndicate that put drugs in the bag of people that are going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, go on.
And she was later let off the hook. If you do a background check on that Zainab Aliyu, she's a daughter of a high-profile person in Kano State. So if this government has refused to pay the ransom is because there is no notable person among the hostage. That's one. Two, we are talking about the Greenfield people. That one is actually very, very germane. So what about the other concomitant circumstance that arises from this very hostage taking? What will happen to education in Kaduna State? What will happen to investment in education? That Greenfield University is owned by an investor. Now, after those people are released, who will still enter that place to seek admission?
Good question.
You see that the economy is gradually collapsing.
Yeah.
So these are the things we have to look at too. So government should hasten up. Because if they don't pay the money and they're executed, their blood will be on their head, because it's them that started paying ransom that encourage criminals to go and take people hostage. So they should finish what they started. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. I think they have a few comments via Facebook. Agumba Abragos that our leaders have contributed in the movement to Somalia and Syria. I won't be surprised as Nigeria is disappearing gradually. And thank God, Achebugos, a failed government always remains a failed government. Mr. President and his APC members have failed Nigerians woefully in the area of employment, security, infrastructure, health, just to mention a few. Mr. President just keeps mute as if all is well with Nigerians. When last did you go to price building materials? Everything has increased in Nigeria because of the failure of government in power to do the needful. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Dayo. Good afternoon.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, concerning the Greenfield children that have been taken hostage, I listened to your show and I've listened to a lot of contributions. I want to take a different perspective with the assumption that even the security operatives are as clueless as possible, or we as a nation, the security apparatus of the nation are as clueless as possible.
No, I heard, just a moment. You will go on, but I do believe I did not state or even infer that security operatives or the entire nation is clueless.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we're making that assumption because we want to look at
who is making that assumption? Who is making that assumption?
I am making that assumption.
Okay, all right.
I am making that assumption. I'm not saying that you said that. So
okay, go ahead.
We want to look at solutions. One of the things I've noticed is that the security apparatus are still operating on some dimension of securing that I think that based on our current reality today, that apparatus can take care of the realities. A quick example is right now we need to engage technology in some means. It's sad that we don't even have a database nation. Who is who? A means of identifying who. So with that, how do we know who we're talking about? So first of all, we need to now start putting certain things on ground so that it helps curb this thing in the future. Let's try to see how organizations can come about and build a database such that you don't do anything outside connection to that database.
But aren't we doing that already with the NIN registration?
With that, I don't think is effective. Right now, we're trying to connect some things. We need to make it right. Put some apparatus, cameras. If I click on your image, I should be able to get data. And these things should be as common as possible.
Yeah, but once again, you have to first acquire the data, which is what the NIN and linking it to your phone line is all about.
Then we now move it further to putting, at some point I heard it was supposed to be so, but I don't know, somehow it happened, like putting of those cameras so that if you capture an image, it's easy to run data. Even when you now carry out any transaction anywhere, those data pop up. Same thing with fingerprint records, dental records, blood sample records, all of these records. These things have to be at the common, at the disposals of the common places, such that there is always an alert connection. This database has to be connected to even the police, so that at somewhere, if a particular person carries out a transaction, there is an alert. These things are common things that are happening happening in developed society. That's why you can hardly run away from the system. So I think that, first of all, we need to put up this system. Only looking at the technology aspect, there are means I've heard, I don't know how true it is, but I do a little research. I've heard that it's possible. Ransoms can be bugged. Monies can be bugged such that anywhere it is spent, it's easy, it creates an alert, there's an information, we get to that location and ask, who spent this money? How was this money spent? There are technical ways. We need to get past this, carrying cops, buttons, standing on the road, putting security,
and police holding machete.
You understand what I'm saying? We need to get the realities of the circumstances in which we live today. Demands that we get past this. It's not working. It's not working. Using buttons, staying on the road, it won't work. So I think that where I'm coming from, I think is we need to even when you pay the ransom, have you put in some measures? Your
point is noted, sir.
So thank you, sir. That's the perspective I thought I should bring to the show.
Great to hear from you. Via WhatsApp. Good day, the moved on part really pierced me in the heart. Dyer, how can we move on when young people with bright future are where they are, dear Lord? It appears that the government is not committed to their release, perhaps because of the private sector. James Akpabio said that. Many American university budgets are higher than the budgets of our states. If we don't fix our process of revenue generation, we'll keep saying the previous president was better. I perceive even Kanu and many pastors are scared of being president because they don't want to be labeled as failures if all hands are not on deck. Chukwemeka said that. Hello, Dio. It's really baffling how we're numb to a lot of things, and I mean all of us, just different degrees. When they even wear Babariga to the meetings, it beats me. People that should be sleeping in their offices brainstorming till results are achieved. We're making it easy for criminals to dictate the terms because we have weak links in positions of power who have weakened our security agencies in order to keep them subservient to themselves. Thanks for keeping the conversation going. That's from Deji. All right, Dai, please let Nigeria not off light. This is the lowest the country has gotten to. Ima Ekole said that. I agree with Ima. Nigeria should not off light. We can do better. We will overcome. We will get past this. But the more we all pitch in, the more the concerted efforts are, the faster and maybe even easier it will be for us to navigate this very difficult time and come out of this fire, looking really polished and golden and bright. We've got the business news coming up top of the hour at 4 p.m. after which we're discussing Nigeria, state of the nation, matters arising. My guest recently elected chairman of Emohua local government area, Dr. Chidi Lloyd. Do please stay with us.